So welcome back to another career mode video. Today we're talking about the interesting teams you should use in FC24 career mode. We did part 1 a few weeks ago. Make sure you go and watch that video. But today I've got some more clubs to talk about. This video will definitely help you out if you're struggling to find a good club to start your career mode save with. If you find the video useful, please leave a like for me and make sure you subscribe to get more FC24. First up is Napoli. This is a team that won the Serie A last season with a whopping 90 points and is now sitting in 5th place at the time of recording. Maybe you can take over and continue the success with Napoli, maybe take them to Champions League glory. You get Champions League football, of course, in the first season, but unfortunately no real stadium is included with this package, which could be a deal breaker for many people. I believe also the club is generic, so no club badges, no official kits as well. The Serie A is a little bit limited because of the Konami deals. You can see the Napoli team is pretty solid, so you've got a good foundation to start with. You've got this guy here, I can't even pronounce his name, but he's an 86 overall. And then you've got Victor Osimhen up front as well. He's going to be deadly, 88 overall. Politano on the right as well, Zielinski and Lobotka as well, 84. And you've got Di Lorenzo as well as a good right back. And maybe you want to work on the centre backs to upgrade them a little bit, but the foundations are definitely there. And you could have a lot of fun with this team, especially with that strike force. Next up on my list is Morecambe. This is the lowest rated team in the 4th division in England, so you're definitely starting at the bottom. This team is perfect for a road to glory where overnight success is definitely not guaranteed. You have a very low budget, so you need to scout youth players, and it will take a while to get this team into the Premier League. It could be a real challenge for a lot of players out there. You can see that most of the players are either high 50s or low 60s in terms of their overall, so yeah, it's going to be a big project. You've got Rooney, but not Wayne Rooney. You've got 50 overall Rooney here, and you can see that the striker up front is only a 57 overall, so you're not going to get many goals with him maybe. It's going to be a real challenge depending on what difficulty you play on as well. This is going to be the ultimate road to glory because you're starting right at the bottom, you know, 4th division in England and the lowest rated team from there as well. Next up is Union Berlin. This one was suggested by Liquid Opia, and they said one team I might recommend is Union Berlin, a growing team in Germany and also Champions League football. So yeah, Union Berlin last season finished in 4th place, 62 points, only 9 points off the top Bayern Munich there, 71, so not bad. And then this year, of course, they've dropped off a little bit so far. 13th place after 7 games, only got the 6 points. They've already had 5 losses, which is a bit concerning, but maybe you can take over and continue to grow the club. Champions League football in the first season is very appealing, and maybe you can aim for a finish better than 4th in the Bundesliga as well. It's not going to be easy. I think this team is not made up of many superstars, if any. I think Bonucci is the highest rated player, and he's a centre back, so you can bring him in at the back. It might help you out a little bit. But the rest of the team, as you can see, 70s, 60s in terms of the overall. The strike force is not the best as well. You can bring Volland in up front as well. That might help you out a little bit. But yeah, there's a lot of work to be done here. It's not going to be too easy to go from 4th into 1st place in the Bundesliga. And also Champions League might be a little bit hard to win at the moment. But you never know in FC24. Anything can happen. But I think there's going to be a bit of work to do. Some new signings need to be brought in as well. And yeah, it's a growing club, so you might want to check them out. At least you get the real stadium, I believe, with this team as well. Burnley's up next, and this was suggested by Young L, who said Burnley would also be a good suggestion. They were good last season in the Championship, but suddenly they are struggling in the Premier League. You can help them stay up and even work on winning the Premier League with them. Last season, Burnley finished 1st with 101 points in the Championship. It looks like they dominated there with only 3 losses. And then this year so far, at the time of recording, 18th place in the Premier League with only 4 points after 8 matches. They've won 1 game, drew 1 game, and lost 6. Minus 13 goal difference as well, so yeah, they are struggling. Your first season is probably going to be fighting to stay out of relegation, trying to push for mid-table or higher. And yeah, with this team, it's not made up of superstars, so there's going to be a lot of recruitments you need to bring in, a lot of player development and youth scouting that needs to occur with this team as well. So the first season is not going to be easy, but it could get better as the seasons progress, and maybe you can turn Burnley into one of Europe's best teams, who knows. Next up is Roma. If you want to play in the Serie A and you want to use a team that can compete for the title, but is not Inter Milan, Juventus, AC Milan or Napoli, Roma could be for you. I do like the Roma team and I'm following them closely because Mourinho is there as well, but it just seems like with a few good signings, you could win the Serie A with Roma. This could be a fun team to use, but the only downside here is that you do not have the official license, which means no club badge, no real kits, no official stadium as well, so that might turn you off a little bit. Last season, Roma came 6th. And this season, they're coming 10th at the time of filming because they had a pretty bad start, I think. But at least you'll get Europa League football in your first season with Roma. Taking a look at the Roma team, I do like it. I think it's a very solid foundation. Look at that strike force, Dybala and Lukaku. Doesn't get much better than that. It looks pretty solid there. Dybala with the 86, Lukaku 84. Then you've got Pellegrini in the midfield. And then you've got players at the back like Mancini and Smaldini as well. And then you've got on the bench El Shaarawy, Belotti, Renato Sanchez, Tammy Abraham is in the reserves as well. So it's not a bad foundation. I feel like if you bring in some nice recruitments, you could really have a solid and strong first 11 that's even a bit better than this. I think, yeah, after 1 or 2 seasons, you could potentially be challenging for the Serie A if you make the right transfers in and you grow some of the players as well. Next up is Borussia Dortmund, number 2. This could be a good idea for those people who are looking for that road to glory experience. You start in the 3rd division in Germany, and then you work your way up to the Bundesliga, and you also try to be better than the first Borussia Dortmund team, which is currently in the Bundesliga. 2 Borussia Dortmund clubs battling it out in the Bundesliga is something you will only see in FC games, so that is why Dortmund 2 could be an interesting choice for you. Since it's in the 3rd division in Germany, it's obviously not going to be like the first Borussia Dortmund team that's currently in the Bundesliga. So there's a lot of work to do before you even get to the Bundesliga and start beating Borussia Dortmund number 1. But it could be fun for some people in terms of storyline. And then we've also got Freiburg 2. For the same reasons as Borussia Dortmund 2, you could try to get them into the Bundesliga and actually be better than Freiburg 1. Taking a look at their team, obviously it's not going to be like the first team, but you could see players in the 50s and 60s. There's a lot of work to do here, just like Borussia Dortmund number 2 as well. Next up is Tottenham, also known as Spurs. I've been following Spurs more closely now that Ange Postecoglou is there, and they seem like a team that could be fun for career mode. This was a team that came 8th last year and has never won the Premier League, but at the time of filming is currently 1st in the league. But I guess it's time to take over and turn Spurs into a title-winning team. The only downside to this save will be that the manager, Ange Postecoglou, still has a generic face, so if you wanted to use him, you'll have to wait for a proper scan to come into the game. Taking a look at the Spurs team, it's got some standout players like Son and Maddison. Obviously, the loss of Harry Kane is a huge loss for Spurs, but I feel like it's still an exciting team, but you still need to improve certain areas of the team. You've got players in the reserves like Perisic, and I think he's getting old now, Perisic anyway. He's 34 years old there. You've got Richarlison, Højbjerg as well. And then you've got players like Udogi. And then you've got Vicario in goals, Kulusevski. So yeah, certain areas do need upgrades, but I think it's a solid foundation to start with. Next up is Lazio, also known as Latium in the game. Obviously, as you guys know, Konami has the license, so you're not going to get the proper stadium, the club badge, the kits and all that. So that's going to turn some people off once again. But I feel like Lazio could be an interesting club because last season they finished in 2nd spot. So maybe you can try and push them into Serie A winners. And obviously this year they've sort of fallen off. They're currently in 13th place at the time of recording. You will get Champions League football in the first season with Lazio as well. And taking a look at their team, it looks like a pretty solid foundation once again. Immobile up front, Felipe Anderson on the right, Zaccagni on the left as well. And then at the back, you've got Romagnoli and a few other guys there. Luis Alberto is also in the middle. So it looks like a good foundation, but definitely you need to upgrade certain parts of this team again.